Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever found yourself dreaming of living in Switzerland? Well, today we're going to break down exactly how you can make that happen. Let's dive in.
I mean, it's not hard to see why, right? Switzerland is always at the top of the list for the best places to live. You've got those super high salaries, the incredible landscapes. Oh, and it's one of the safest places on Earth. It's a combination that pulls people in from all over the world.
Okay, so beyond the perfect Instagram pictures and the impressive stats, what does it really take to call Switzerland home? There's a whole system of visas and permits you have to get through. So, how do you do it? That's the big question we're answering today.
All right, let's get into it. First up, EU or non-EU? And trust me, this is the most important question you need to answer because everything that comes next depends on it. Seriously, it all comes down to one thing: your passport. Whether you're a citizen of the European Union or an EFTA country like Norway or Iceland, that little book determines every single step of your journey. It's the key to two very, very different paths. And this is that fork in the road. For EU and FTA citizens, there's this principle called freedom of movement, which basically opens the door right up. But for everyone else, well, it's a much tougher climb, with strict limits and a whole lot more rules to follow. Okay, so now that you know which road you're on, let's talk about the first big step: getting that initial permit. This is the piece of paper that officially lets you live and work in the country. First, you've got the L permit. You can kind of think of this as your short-term pass. It's usually for a specific temporary job, and it's good for up to a year. For a lot of people, this is how they first get their foot in the door. Then there's the B permit. Now, this is the one most people are aiming for. It's your standard residence permit for a longer stay, and it's typically tied to a more permanent job, or, say, your university studies. So if you're an EU or EFT citizen, you're gonna love this part. The process is, well, it's incredibly straightforward. All you really need is a job contract, or just proof that you can support yourself financially. After that, you just register and you're pretty much good to go. But for non-EU folks, yeah, it's a whole different ballgame. There are these really strict annual quotas. And get this, your future boss has to literally prove to the government that they couldn't find anyone in Switzerland or the entire EU who could do your job. That is a massive hurdle to clear. Okay, so that sounds pretty tough for non-EU workers, right? But wait, there's another major route people take: coming in as a student. And the rules here, they're a little different. And if you're a non-EU student, this number is super important: 15. That's the maximum number of hours you can work per week once you're 6 months into your studies. It's a hard limit, but it's a great way to get some local work experience and, earn a bit of extra cash. To even get that student visa, you've got to have all your ducks in a row. We're talking official acceptance letters from your university, solid proof you've got enough money to live on, and even evidence that you've already found a place to stay. All right, moving on. Let's say you're in, you've got your first permit, you're loving the fondue. What's next? Well, the next big goal is moving from being a temporary resident to a permanent one. And that brings us to the famous C permit. This is the holy grail for most long-term residents. It's a permanent settlement permit. That means no more yearly renewals, and it gives you basically all the same rights as a Swiss citizen except for voting in national elections. It's a huge deal. And just like before, your passport totally changes the timeline. If you're from most EU or FTA countries, you can often apply for that C permit after just 5 years. But for non-EU citizens, the standard wait time is double that, a full 10 years. But here's the thing, it's not just about waiting out the clock. You have to actively prove you're integrated. What does that mean? It means showing you can speak one of the national languages, that you're financially stable, you don't have a criminal record, and you're actually part of your local community. And that brings us to the final mountain to climb, the last step in this whole process: becoming an actual Swiss citizen. Yeah, this is the ultimate step. We're talking about naturalization, earning the right to hold that iconic red passport. This isn't just about paperwork. It's about officially becoming part of the Swiss story. So, how do you get there? The path to citizenship pretty much builds on what you needed for the C permit. You're looking at a minimum of 10 years living in the country, solid language skills, and a really deep, provable level of integration into Swiss society. And let's get specific about the language part. We're talking about German, French, or Italian.
You'll need to hit a B1 level in speaking, which is basically being able to hold a real conversation, and an A2 level for writing. And this really gets to the heart of what integration means. It's way more than just language. They want to see that you're a productive member of society, that you're involved in your community, you respect the rules, and you're not in debt. Basically, they want to know you're a good neighbor.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway? Look, moving to Switzerland is totally doable, but your success, it all comes down to knowing which path you're on right from the very start. Whether you're EU or non-EU, planning ahead is everything. So, there you have it. We've laid out the entire map, from that very first permit all the way to the passport. It's definitely a demanding journey, no doubt about it. But for so many people, the destination is worth every single step. The only question left is that Swiss dream your destination?